And live.
Yo, what up, Knicks Nation? Welcome back to another Game of the Week preview. We just got off the terrible loss to the Golden State Warriors, but we're back again, okay? We have to preview the rematch between the New York Knicks and the Los Angeles Lakers, and who better to help preview this game with me is none other than my returning guest, Trevor Lane, friend of the program. He's the host of Lakers Nation and also Front Office Show. Make sure that thumbs up button for your boys. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And make sure to support our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code KFTV to get up to $1,000 in instant bonus cash. Sorry, Trevor. I'm a little tired over here, man. It's past 11 p.m., so I might be slurring my words a little bit. But how are you doing, my man? How are you feeling?
I'm hanging in there. It's been a crazy time in Lakerland, that's for sure. But appreciate that we're doing the late night show, staying up a little bit later for me here. So I appreciate you, my friend.
Anything, man. Anything for you, Trevor. And look, you already talked about it. You're just like let off with it. Crazy times for Laker Nation. Look, we did a preview not too long ago, but Knicks Lakers first time. After that game, I'm doing a post game. You're doing a post game. We're breaking down what we just saw on the court. All that gets erased. Who? Why? Because Luka Doncic decides is getting traded thanks to Nico Harrison of the Dallas Mavericks, who may have to go into witness protection just the way the Dallas Mavericks are going. And he goes straight to La La Land to go join LeBron James and Austin Reeves. So I got to ask first, man, what was your whole reaction when you saw that come across your timeline?
Oh, man. I mean, I think I had the same reaction everybody did. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that it was real. I thought for sure Shams Charania had been hacked. His follow-up tweet even made me more confident that he had been hacked because, of course, what are you going to say if you've been hacked? Say this is all true. This is all real. But then when I saw it posted to his Threads account, too, I went, well, damn. They couldn't hack both accounts. This has to be real then. I was in complete shock. I was immediately disappointed that I'd gone off the air maybe 5 minutes before the news broke. And so I missed being live on the air when it broke, but jumped right back on, had an epic show. But there's still moments. Here we are. We're over a month later. There's still moments where I look at the Lakers roster and I'm like, man, it doesn't look real. It doesn't feel real seeing Luka in a Lakers jersey. But here we are. An insane moment. Maybe the most shocking trade in NBA history, and definitely I remember where I was when trade that we'll never forget.
Absolutely. Look, I'm right there with you. I was, shout out to my guy Sean, who was co-hosting with me that night after the Knicks played the Lakers, and he brings it up on on the show, and I'm like, nah, that ain't real, man. That's not real. There's no way for so little. Anthony Davis, a first round pick, and Max Christie. I'm like, come on, man. That's all that they got. They could certainly get more than that. But such is the way of the Lakers, I'm sure, as you're well aware. You guys always get your guy somehow, some way, even if it's not even planned. You all get some superstar some way or another. And Luka Doncic is now in the purple and gold, and I think they're 8-2 since they've last played, or like since Luka's actually played in the lineup. They're doing a great job, man. They look phenomenal. I mean, you got two basketball savants with LeBron James and Luka out there. What has been your thoughts so far with Luka on the team?
Yeah, I think what's been most impressive is that the thing that we thought coming after this trade that was going to be their weakness has actually been a strength, and that's the defense. We thought, okay, you lose a great defensive player in Anthony Davis, you lose a really good one in Max Christie, you bring in a guy like Luka who's not known for his defense. Clearly, you're going to take a step back on that side of the ball. In fact, a lot of people kind of thought, myself included, maybe they'd take a little step back this year because they would have so many struggles there. Wound up with Jackson Hayes being their starting center. We'll talk probably about Mark Williams, that whole situation in a bit. But that those things would get exploited by on this Lakers roster. And instead, what's happened is the defense has actually gotten even better. And what that's done is it's given them a little bit of leeway for the offense to figure things out, because that's the biggest adjustment to make with Luka Doncic joining the team. It's the offensive end of the floor. That's the biggest adaptation that has to be made on the team. And so that has taken some time to come along. Although the last couple of games, we're seeing signs. Luka is looking more like Luka. They're starting to figure some things out. So some positives there. But in the meantime, it's been the defense that has really kept them afloat and kept them winning games. Again, not what anybody expected coming in, but the defensive side of the ball, I think, has been the most impressive thing that we've seen from this team over the last, couple of months here.
That's very impressive, considering that you guys tried to trade for Mark Williams. That fell through, and the last time when we spoke, you talked about needing a center, especially next to Anthony Davis. And now that you made this trade, you still need a center, but you guys are doing a damn good job without, like, I guess, a traditional big. Jackson Hayes is now, your starting five. Is that still the big need as a center? I would expect so, but you guys seem to like figured out the defense where it's not even, you know, like necessary right now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of things that they're doing right now. Part of it is credit to Jackson Hayes. He's been playing fantastic
Mm.
basketball, keeping these very simple, just screening, lobs at the rim, finishing, and then defensively being very aggressive on that end of the floor. And he's done a nice job for the Lakers. So he's performed, I think, above expectations so far. And that has certainly helped mitigate the issue. But they're also being very aggressive on the glass. We're seeing a number of Lakers players get involved in crashing the glass. That safety net of Anthony Davis is gone, and it's forced everybody else to step up their games. I also think the return of Jared Vanderbilt has been a major factor there. Dorian Finney-Smith, him coming in the D'Angelo Russell trade, that's been a very positive swap on the defensive side of the ball for the Lakers. And then LeBron, his defense has been much more locked in. I think you could see the offensive burden has been lifted from LeBron, and so we're seeing other areas of his game really flourish as he doesn't have to exert himself so much to try to create everything on the offensive end. So it's all of those things combined that has seen the Lakers defense improve so much. And now we're starting to see the offense come along too. So that's been the way we've seen this all come together. Do they still need another big? Yes. Ultimately, they're going to have to wait until summertime to go find that player. They're still going to need somebody. But right now, Jackson Hayes is making a great case to, if not to be the guy next year, to at least be certainly in the mix and somebody that the Lakers are going to continue to turn to moving forward.
Okay. Okay. And, follow up to that is now, I feel like expectations have certainly changed since, since we last spoke. You're talking about, hey, let's, be out of the play in. Let's just be in the top six. Yeah. Let's go get a center. We can make some noise. Now it feels like expectations have now risen because at that point we were talking about being six in the Western Conference. You guys are now number two. You guys have now risen up the ranks in a short amount of time. Has the expectations changed for this team?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're 19 wins out of their last 23 games, so they're playing fantastic basketball. That's caused them to jump up to the 2 seed. Essentially, now we're looking at the Lakers falling somewhere 2 through 5. Right when the dust settles, we can say pretty confidently that's where they're going to slot. They're fighting with the Grizzlies, with the Nuggets, and the Houston Rockets for those positions. Right now, they are the 2 seed as we're speaking here, and so because of that, because of obviously the added attention that the Luka trade brings, but also how well they've been playing, expectations are certainly rising that this team could be a Western Conference Finals team, maybe an NBA Finals team, particularly as LeBron and Luka start to figure things out and play well together. So, yeah, the expectations are rising. Lakers fans are very excited right now about this team and the potential upside that they've got currently. I know there was a lot of talk heading into all of this about, well, the team as presently constructed isn't exactly how they should be. Maybe they'll really make a run next year, something like that. This team right now making a real case saying, no, we're not going to wait for next year. We're going to go at it right now. And they've been doing a great job so far.
Yeah, and how can you say not? Why not now? I mean, you have
Yeah.
legitimately two of the best players, two top 10 players on the same team. I mean, you got Luka Doncic and you got LeBron James. Like I said earlier, they're both basketball savants. So with both of them on the court, there's just so many possibilities, endless possibilities. And I guess, my question now is that obviously we know the transition is going to be from LeBron to Luka. No questions asked. How long is LeBron now going to play? Because you get Luka, this is obviously not even a full season. Does he play for another year or so just to, soak up this opportunity? Well, what's your expectation right there?
Yeah, what's interesting is that LeBron, you look at what he's doing. I mean, he's the Western Conference Player of the Month for February. He is playing at an extremely high level. He is top 5, maybe what, top 10 at worst, I suppose, in the NBA in terms of players, the way they played this season. So what does this mean for LeBron in terms of his longevity? Well, he doesn't have to bear as much of the burden on the offensive end anymore. Luka has taken over quite a bit of that, and that's been something LeBron has been wanting. A lot of people said, "Oh, how can Luka and LeBron play together?" LeBron's been asking for years for this, for somebody to take some of the offensive burden off of him. He's finally got that. I do think that if mentally he wants to keep playing, he is in it, his mindset is right, the man, who knows how much longer he could play. Again, he's 40 years old and he's still one of the best players in the league. It's absolutely unreal. But it's the question is mentally, how much does he want to go through all the pregame prep, everything he has to do to get his body right, all the postgame, all the recovery, all that sort of stuff, the physical toll. How much does he want to endure all of that? But I'll tell you what, Luka being in LA, it does seem to have rejuvenated LeBron to a degree. He's playing at an extremely high level. He's getting buckets, I think, easier than we've seen in a long time. And so if he wants to keep playing for 2, 3 more years, whatever it is, I wouldn't put it past him because he certainly physically, he definitely can do it. The question is going to be for him, how much longer does he want to play mentally? This is 22 seasons in the NBA. So it's going to be how much longer does he want to put himself through it? But physically, I mean, there's no stopping this guy.
Salute to Knicks Nation. Thank you all for tuning in for another Game of the Week preview. With me on the other side is my guy, Trevor Lane. He's the host of Lakers Nation and also the host of Front Office Show. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button for your boys. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. We're getting ready for the New York Knicks in La La Land tomorrow, taking on the Los Angeles Lakers for revenge. All right. I just had to get all the Lakers stuff out of the way, Trevor, because I mean, that's just been burning my mind. I mean, yes, I watched your live stream. I know you what you said that night, but it's like now there's been, a sample size. It's not hypotheticals, it's now tangible. You get to see what it actually looks like. So I just had to know. But now let's get back to the New York Knicks. All right.
Yeah.
This is a Knicks podcast, a Knicks show. We have to talk about them a little bit. So what was your thoughts? Have your thoughts changed since that game between the old Los Angeles Lakers and the New York Knicks then?
A little bit, and not significantly. I still think the Knicks are sitting in that kind of second tier in the Eastern Conference right now. You've got the Celtics, you got the Cavs, who are the top tier. The Knicks, I was really hoping that this season they would be the team that would really break through, that they could challenge the Celtics. I don't think they're right now kind of on that same tier currently, but they're not that far off. And I'm hoping that Mitch Robinson coming back is going to give them a nice boost, that he kind of acts as their almost their trade deadline acquisition, right? Just because he's getting himself back up to full health, and that he can allow them to be the offensive rebounding machine that we saw last year. But I was a little bit surprised by how well the Lakers' schemes worked to take Karl Anthony Towns kind of out of the game the last time these two sides played. The Lakers' defensive schemes worked really well against the Knicks. So I am curious to see what counters the Knicks throw at them in this one. Again, so far, the Lakers have done a pretty good job, despite on paper, they should have a weakness in the middle. So far, they've done a really good job against the true bigs in the NBA, Nikola Jokic, Ivica Zubac, and Towns. When they've been going up against these guys, they found ways to kind of take them out of the game. I'm really curious to see if the Knicks are able to counter that and be one of the first teams to really punish the Lakers for having not nearly the same interior presence that they used to.
Yeah, the return of Mitchell Robinson certainly is, in my opinion, going to help. I agree with
Yeah.
you 100%, just because, you know, he helps solidify a lot of that interior defense. Karl Anthony Towns and drop coverage is not what you want to see. He's okay at the level, but having him as like your last line of defense, especially when Jalen Brunson is at your point of attack, and they could just that's what teams are looking for. They're just looking to put Brunson and Cat in the action and constantly have them switch, and that's their mismatch. And I think with Mitchell Robinson back there, we even saw that in the Memphis Grizzlies game where as soon as he stepped on the court, he's a deterrent.
Yeah.
Absolute deterrent. You don't want to just. John Morant was like, "Oh my God, he's down there." Well, hold on one second. Let me just draw the ball back out a little bit. Let's work it around. And so Mitchell Robinson returning certainly will help. Obviously still in that. Testing out, getting his legs under him phase. So 12, 13 minutes is all he's going to play as of right now. But once he gets back up to full speed, Tom Thibodeau said that this is the starting center for this team. And I'm very curious to see if he's going to hold true to those words, because if he does put Mitch at the 5 and Cat at the 4, that's a big lineup. I would expect Josh Hart to go to the bench. And I think that would actually help more in a lot of the matchups that the Knicks have to go against, especially against Cleveland. I still think against the Celtics, it's a little bit of a mismatch, just
Yeah.
because, you know, they're a true 5-out team. Everyone plays defense. Everyone's a playmaker. Literally, everyone 1 through 5 on that team is just. There's not a lot of weaknesses on that team, and I hate saying that because I don't really like giving the Celtics that much credit. But they're a tough matchup regardless. But Mitchell Robinson certainly will help now that he's back. And then you even see that with the perimeter defense between Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, and OG Anunoby. Them knowing that they have somebody who's like a safety valve, they're like, oh, okay, I don't have to exhaust myself for all 40 minutes that I'm out here. I know that even if I give up a play, if Mitch is behind, he's going to like deter somebody, and then we can just reset. I can catch my breath, and I can get back out there and do my damn thing. So having Mitchell Robinson back certainly should help, and I'm wondering how much more time he's going to get against the Los Angeles Lakers tomorrow, and how that would even look against Jackson Hayes.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, Mitch Robinson should have a pretty big advantage there in the paint in terms of, especially his abilities on the offensive glass. I mean, one of, if not maybe the best offensive rebounders in the NBA. Jackson Hayes is 220 pounds soaking wet. Can Mitch Robinson do what he does there on the glass against him? The Lakers have been doing a pretty good job on the defensive glass with AD gone now, but I mean, Robinson is a whole different world there. So if they do go ahead and start Robinson, start Towns, that size will, I think, will cause some problems for the Lakers, particularly because the Lakers too. What they've been doing is they've been using a lot of Rui Hachimura
Mm.
as kind of a nominal five, and he's out. He's out due to injury. He's dealing with a knee issue. Rui's got a little bit of size to him. He's actually a physically bigger dude than Jackson Hayes is. He's 230 pounds. So he can provide a little bit of size there, but the Lakers won't even have him to turn to. So I'm curious to see if the Knicks can kind of go back to the Knicks of last year where they were just bludgeoning people on the offensive glass, if that sort of returns with the return of Mitchell Robinson. And against the Lakers, they've done a really nice job. They paid a lot of attention to detail when it's come to their box outs. They've been a middle of the road defensive rebound team, but the Knicks can be, I think, a next level offensive rebounding team. And that can put some real problems there for the Lakers. We all know offensive rebounds, they're going to lead to either putbacks at the rim or wide open threes. Both things are death in the NBA. And so that is a key stat that I'm going to be keeping an eye on in this game. It's what do the Knicks do on the offensive glass? Are they one of the first teams to really punish the Lakers' lack of size there in the middle?
Yeah, look, and even in the last matchup, right, the Knicks won the rebounding battle 44-37. And if you want to talk about the offensive rebounding battle, Knicks won that one 16-3. But you know what? That didn't really matter because
Yeah.
as we discussed that game, my biggest concern was, are the Lakers just going to get hot from three because we have a porous 3-point defense? And that they did. They shot 48% from downtown. You know, Rui Hachimura, and why am I now blanking on his name? Jesus.
Austin Reeves got going.
Austin Reeves got going, but Dorian Finney-Smith was the other guy I was
Oh,
thinking of because he
DFS.
went
Yeah.
5 for 6. But yeah, all between all those guys, all of them just started to, knock everything down from downtown. And so that's just going to be the key thing again. I mean, is Austin Reeves, is he out? Is he playing tomorrow?
He is. He got upgraded to probable, so looks like
Okay.
he will be a go. Rui will still be out for that one. That is a good point on the 3-point shooting. The Lakers actually had. I don't know if it's a season high, but it's got to be close to it. They shot 52 threes last game. Their 3-point volume has gone up a lot since the arrival of Luka. Part of that, I think, that was they played the Pelicans. The Pelicans have a bad 3-point defense, but that'll be interesting to see. Do the Lakers continue to shoot the three at that volume? They took 40 last time they played the Knicks. I'd have to imagine we do see the Lakers really getting them up from deep. Although no Rui Hachimura hurts because he is one of their better 3-point shooters.
Yeah. And look, no Rui. I still think, like, I mean, you guys didn't have Luca. Luca,
Yep,
Dorian Finney-Smith, Austin Reeves. That's still enough 3-point shooting, man. And so
sure.
and even even Gabe Vincent was shooting the lights out in that matchup too. So that's going to be another key thing for me is, do we have the capability of just stopping the Lakers from getting hot from downtown? And it's all going to be, who's stopping Luca. I'm expecting OG to be on LeBron James in tomorrow's matchup. I'm wondering who's going to guard Luca. That's going to be
Yeah.
my, because it's not. I know it's not going to be the center. Well, I'm unsure if Karl Anthony Towns is playing tomorrow. I know he's out for due to personal reasons, but OG's going to have LeBron just because I'm expecting physicality right there. And I just don't see anybody else on this roster defensively that you would want to put on LeBron James for that extended amount of time. So now I'm talking about either Mikal Bridges or Josh Hart on Luka Doncic. And look, I know Mikal is our top perimeter guy when we throw him out there. That doesn't give me a vote of confidence because Luka is a physical player. So I'm
Mhm.
wondering, is this going to be a tag team effort between Josh Hart and Bridges? That's where I'm confused in this whole matchup. And I'm going to ask you, who would you expect to defend Luca from off the rip?
I think it's going to be like a lot of guys that are his caliber of player. It's going to have to be a team effort. There's going to be a lot of guys that are going to take turns on it. But I mean, probably off the jump, Bridges would be my guess, and then you do mix in some, assuming that Cat starts. Cat, last I saw was he was going to be available for this game. So, assuming he is, and he does start, and you've got Robinson starting as well, we'll probably see Josh Hart coming off the bench. So I would assume it's going to be Bridges getting the first attempt there at Luka. But as we've seen, it's really going to be a team defensive scheme, which is going to be really interesting because Luka is very good when teams do overplay him at picking out open shooters on the Lakers. So how Luka responds to the Knicks defensive pressure will be really interesting in this one. But I do think it's Bridges that'll get the first look. But just like with all the great players, and we'll add, Jalen Brunson too. When the Lakers defensive schemes on Brunson, it's going to be team centric. I don't think it's just one player that's going to slow any of these guys down. They're going to have to pay a lot of attention to them. And then it's about, can you send a double and rotate and get back to your man and not give up an open look after trying to get the ball out of the hands of whatever star level ball, whether it's Brunson, whether it's LeBron, whether it's Luka, or anybody else that you're going to play against. It's always the question: can you get the ball out of their hands, and can you do it without paying the price because somebody else gets an open look as a result? So I think the Knicks, their defensive scheme is going to be really interesting to watch in this. Do they start just straight up on Luka? How quickly do they send the double to him? And then are the Lakers able to capitalize when that double does arrive? Is it a soft double? Are they blitzing? What do they ultimately do there? I think that's going to be fascinating to watch in this kind of chess match.
It certainly is, man. It certainly is. Salute to Knicks Nation. Thank you all for tuning in for another game of the week preview. With me on the other side is my guy, Trevor Lane. He's the host of Lakers Nation and Front Office Show. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button for your boys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And hey, make sure to support our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code KFTV to get up to $1,000 in instant bonus cash. People, let me tell you about Underdog Fantasy. I love the app. It's so much fun to use. And when I'm watching the NBA, I like to think that I know a little bit more than the app itself and try to win some money. So all you got to do is just choose anywhere between 2 to 8 players. And the more players you choose, the more money you get in return. And all you got to do is just choose higher or lower on any statistical category. So let's say for tomorrow, you got Jalen Brunson. Let's say it's at 25.5 points. All you got to do is just choose higher or lower for points to see if Brunson's going to hit that number, right? I'm thinking that, it probably will go over just because if there's no cat, he's going to take a lot more attempts. So I would probably say higher for tomorrow's game for Jalen Brunson if that is the line. The other cool thing is that you just don't need to stick to one sport. You can mix and match amongst all sports. So if you're into NHL, anything else, you can always mix and match the players. And there's also the fantasy draft, so you can just compete against your friends and see who's the better GM. All right, and all you got to do is just choose 6 players and lock in for that as well. So make sure to support our sponsor. Use the promo code KFTV to get up to $1,000 instant bonus cash and a free pick for Underdog Fantasy. All right, Trevor, let's get back into this, man. Let's get back to the key matchup. We kind of alluded to it. It's Jalen Brunson. It's Luka Doncic for me.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two guys in tomorrow's matchup. It's going to be the battle of the point guards. I mean, how funny it is. Both of these guys are Dallas Mavericks.
Right.
Then they both go off on their own separate ways to some of the biggest media markets possible. One goes to New York, one goes to LA. And hey, look at this. And not saying that, they both wanted to leave Dallas. I think both of them wanted to stay in Dallas, but Dallas made their own decisions. And look, man, if I'm Nico Harrison right now, like I said earlier, I am getting some witness protection. I am not walking outside. I am not doing nothing. I might even change my name and go put on a wig if I was Nico Harrison right now, because that man, you cannot be looking good. If you are a Dallas Mavericks fan, you have every single right to be pissed off. That's all I got to say.
Oh, they're not happy. It's been rough times. It feels like the Mavs have done everything wrong, from raising ticket prices, kicking fans out who are voicing their displeasure with the trade, all kinds of things happening there. But I'll tell you what, though, Nico Harrison, you are very welcome in LA. You need to hide out somewhere. Promise you don't have to pay for a drink again in LA for the rest of your life, because you are more than welcome to come hang out in LA. I think LA fans will be very, very pleased to see Nico if he does decide to come make an appearance in Los Angeles. Maybe not in Dallas, but in LA. Nico is revered at this moment.
I may, if I'm even Nico, I may just relocate my entire home. If I'm living in Dallas, that thing is moving outside the city. I'm moving out of Dallas Fort Worth. I might have to commute 2 hours in. I might even have to take a plane in at this point just to get to work. But let's talk about this matchup, man, because look, we talked about the difficulties for both teams. thinking about the schematics defensively on how do you stop these guys, because both these guys are just offensive juggernauts in their own right, right? Jalen Brunson just knows how to be crafty, move at his own pace, use his physicality, play inside, back to the basket at times, knock down threes. And funny enough, that's just the same thing that Luka does too. He moves at his own pace, a little bit more herky jerky in my opinion than Jalen, and how he gets to his spots, and just a lethal 3-point shooter. Both of them are solid playmakers as well, or above solid, I should say. And so them tomorrow, it's going to be, which point guard sets up their team the best. That's how I'm looking at it. And obviously it's going to come down to maybe late game heroics, who can just take over and just, be unstoppable. But that's my prediction for tomorrow's game, man. It's gonna be the battle of the point guards.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to come down to those two players. What do they do to ultimately get their guys good looks? And really, can they do it without turning the ball over? That's going to be a really big key here. Both these teams can punish teams that turn the ball over at a high rate. So can they hang on to the basketball, not have any sloppy turnovers, especially live ball turnovers? I think will be a killer in this one. We've seen Luka a little bit off now and then with his timing with some of his Lakers teammates as he's figuring some things out. So the turnovers have creeped up a little bit. And we know the same thing with Jalen Brunson. Last time the two sides played, Brunson had 6 turnovers, and that was part of the reason why the Lakers were able to mitigate that offensive rebounding edge that the Knicks had, 16-3 in that category. So what do these two guys do to set up their teams, to get things going, to get their own offense going, as well as get looks for their teammates? That, I think, is going to be the critical battle in this game. I don't think they're going to defend each other very much in this one. I think there's going to be a lot of cross matching here, but those two, I think, are going to be responsible for being the engines of their respective teams. And I think it's going to be a heck of a duel. Like you said, both guys former Dallas Mavericks, so there's probably a little bit extra there that they'll bring to each other in this one.
For sure. Look, there's definitely going to be a little bit extra in this matchup, and I hope I don't have to watch Jalen Brunson guard Luka. I mean, just the height mismatch alone is just
Yeah.
that just sounds terrifying. But the other matchup problem is going to be LeBron James, like OG Anunoby, that he's our best defender on the team in isolation, and even team defender. I'm just you don't stop LeBron James. You just try your best to like contain him or make his life a little bit more difficult. And this is for me where this game could easily be pivotal, because the thing is, like, yes, we talk about Luka, we talk about Jalen. Both these guys are high volume scorers. They're also solid playmakers, but you got legitimately another guy who could do the exact same thing in LeBron James. And now for the Knicks, like it's it's mostly on Jalen Brunson. So we don't have a
Right.
guy like LeBron to go to. So this is where it's like, is LeBron going to be back, even turn back the clock even more and be that, or is even Luke could be like just gonna say, you know what? Let's really throw a wrench in this entire game plan. LeBron, you go take, which they do. That's how it goes. And that's my biggest concern in tomorrow's matchup, is that you not got one, you don't only have one, you got two guys that could easily take over.
Yeah, and that will be really interesting to watch that dynamic play out because especially the last 3-4 games here. Well, I think it's 3 games that the Lakers have been without Austin Reeves. There've been a number of moments where Luka gets doubled in the pick and roll, and then he's passing out of it, and he's passing to Trey Jemison or someone like that. And he's done a fine job, Trey has, but passing to guys who aren't necessarily the most comfortable operating in that short role there. Well, LeBron, when he's on the floor, obviously that's death. When LeBron gets into a 4-on-3 situation, Austin gives them another option, assuming he's back to do that. And so LeBron acting in the secondary role, what he's been able to do is really pick his spots. And he's become extremely efficient doing that. He's passing the ball at an extremely high level. He always has been. But LeBron has been able to really feel out the game and pick his moments when he needs to. The absurdity of all of it is that for a 48-minute game, the Lakers now have LeBron or Luka on the floor at all times. One of them is on the floor for the entire 48 minutes.
It's
And that
just
just
so
makes it
it's so unfair,
right. It's
insanity.
absurd. And that makes it so difficult to defend because you're dealing with one of the best passers in the NBA the entirety of the game. And then there's moments where they're on the floor together. And now you add Austin into the mix, who's very comfortable as a playmaker, too. And that's going to be really tough to stop when you've got that many guys that you can't leave and are capable of being split-second decision makers like LeBron can and like Austin can too when the ball's not in Luka's hands.
I'm gonna have to play some. If this goes completely south tomorrow, and I'm not that type of fan, I'm gonna have to like just rage play 2K, like I gotta go win and go choose the Lakers and go choose the Knicks and go do this on my own terms. But hey, man, this is the matchup for tomorrow. You
Mhm.
know, I'm so confident in my Knicks. I'm looking forward to them bouncing back and making this a true game for tomorrow's matchup. It's going to be a challenge for sure, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. Let's talk about our X factors though, because you know, it just changes every single week for me at least, because it's like someone's either down, someone needs to like get back up, or like there's just a new development on like who are our bench and how they're playing. Like Deuce
Mhm.
McBride, he's been playing very well the last couple of games. But as always, you're the guest. Who's your X factor for the Lakers?
My X factor for the Lakers for this one, there's a number of guys we could point to, but for me, it's Gabe Vincent. He has really struggled the last couple of weeks shooting the basketball. In fact, you go all the way back to basically since the All-Star break. He has not shot the ball well. He had one game that he shot 50% from three, but otherwise, the shot kind of went away after the All-Star break, and he's just struggled to take advantage of the open opportunities. So he's got to bounce back. He's had a really nice December, a nice January, but now things have kind of fallen back for him. And he's getting great looks every single game. He got last two games, 6 attempts from three, both games, wound up shooting 3 of 12. He's got to have a bounce back performance from deep because the guys are getting him great looks and he's got to be able to knock those down. He did knock him down the last time he played the Knicks, but again, he's been in a slump ever since the All-Star break, has not shot the ball particularly well. So they need him. They need his defense out there on the court, but they need him to be able to punish teams when they're focusing too much on the other guys by knocking down those open threes. So he's the X factor for me. If you can get, I don't know, even a 3 of 5 from deep game out of Gabe Vincent would go a long way, I think, for the Lakers.
Okay, so you're going with Gabe Vincent in tomorrow's matchup. I'm gonna go with Josh Hart, man. I need Josh Hart to, step it up because since the All-Star break, it's been a little underwhelming, I might say. And this is the guy who is Mr. Do Everything, right? This is your
Yeah.
guy who could be your secondary playmaker. This is the guy who leads the second unit at times. This is like one of your better perimeter defenders. He's like a strong safety, free safety, depending on the night. He's one of your best rebounders. At one point of the season, for most of it, he was knocking down over 37% of his threes at good volume, about between 3 to 4 shots per game from downtown. And he's been a little bit of a rut since he's come back. There's not there the energy just hasn't consistently been there. And we know that he's dealing with knee tendonitis, and this is just something that he's had throughout his entire career that he's talked about, or not necessarily his entire career, but part of his career. And so it's always about just managing it every single season. And it looks like it may be bothering him. He may just be trying to take it easy right now during this part of the season, so that way he's ready for the postseason. But we are certainly missing his energy. You could even see that in the last matchup against the Golden State Warriors. He's not doing Josh Hart things. And if you have him doing Josh Hart things and being confident for knocking down, like being confident to knock down threes, completely changes the outlook of that entire game. And so I need him to just bounce back, because in a matchup against the Los Angeles Lakers, where I know this can get a little gritty and this is going to be tight, you're going to need additional playmaking. You're going to need to fight for the rebounds. And, with the uncertainty of if Karl Anthony Towns is going to be back, I need somebody out there to grab boards. And it can't just be Mitch, who's coming back off of injury, who's on a minutes restriction. So I'm looking at Josh Hart as my X factor for tomorrow's game. So you got Gabe Vincent. I got Josh Hart. Hopefully that these guys pan out for both of us tomorrow, man. It should be
Yeah.
a good one. Trevor, I appreciate you always coming through, man, to help preview this game. Hey, there's a cat. Your cat just got to join you for the last waking minutes. I like it, man. My cats are somewhere else just sleeping right now, and after they just been bugging me for treats. But always appreciate you coming through, my man. Please let the listeners know if you got any work up and coming, we should be on the lookout for.
Sure, yeah. Well, this is Stu, the studio cat that always likes to make appearances. Well, now and then on our shows, but if you guys want to find me, you can find me over on the Lakers Nation YouTube channel, youtube.com/Lakers Nation, as well as the NBA front office show, as well as the basketball bulletin. I'm all over the place. And then the podcast side, you guys can find over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Appreciate you as always, Trevor. And Knicks Nation, thank you all for tuning in once again for another Game of the Week preview. Got to get ready for this Knicks-Lakers matchup tomorrow. Another primetime game. We had primetime with the Warriors. Now we're starting our West Coast trip. First game of our West Coast trip is going out to Crypto.com to go face the Los Angeles Lakers, the new look Lakers with Luka Doncic and LeBron James. So appreciate you, Knicks Nation. I'm sure we got some Lakers Nation tapping in as well. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button for your boys. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Make sure to support our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code KFTV to get up to $1,000 in instant bonus cash. And remember, if you can't catch the shows live, you can always go to any audio listening platform that you use. Apple, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, Stitcher, you name it. We are there. We're all over the place. So you have no excuse to miss any single show, even while you're on the road. Okay, and on top of that, make sure to go over and look for the Knicks Fan TV newsletter through Beehive. We got great writers over there covering the team on a day-to-day basis, so make sure to go check them out. All right, and let me just give a shout out to some of the franchise channel members that we got in here. Shout out to Chuck D, the rhyme animal himself. Make sure to throw a hashtag PE in the chat. Shout out to my guy Jamaica Queens, John Talento. I see you is in here as well. Nostalgic Nick, aka Minutes Police. Shout out to you, my guy. Who else we got in here, man? We got G5 Wheeze. Shout out to all of you for tuning in for another Game of the Week preview. Billy R, I see you in here too. Make sure that thumbs up button once again for your boys. We'll catch you tomorrow. You know, after, well, we're gonna have play-by-play and then post-game afterwards. All right, everyone, we out.